Greetings.
Yay, Sharifa.
Good
Okay.
afternoon.
Our
Apologies.
afternoon. No problem. I already apologized and said we're having a couple technical difficulties.
Thank you.
Um, so hey everyone who has joined us. My name is Alexis McDavid, and on video with me today is Sharifa Balfour, curator at National Museum West in Montego Bay,
Greetings.
and I am the outreach officer at National Museum Jamaica in Kingston. And happy International Museum Day.
Same,
This
same.
is just you know, live stream to talk about the theme of International Museum Day, which is, hold on, let me make sure I'm saying the correct one, Museums for Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion. And International Museum Day has been going on since 1977, and we have decided to participate. Well, we try to participate every year at National Museum Jamaica, but this year we're doing it live stream because, as we all know, our lovely friend COVID-19 has prevented us from doing our usual at the Institute of Jamaica event. So everything is virtual. So here we are. And so I will just let Sharifa get started. And we can, as I said, if anybody has any questions, let us know, any comments. And yeah, let's just dive into it.
Well, this year, since we're looking at museums for equality, diversity, and inclusion, and as Alexis said, we were not able to do our usual in-house activity this year. We thought that it would be cool to really look at the diversity in the national collection. So just a little backstory for those of you who may not be familiar. So National Museum Jamaica, older generations might be more familiar with it being called Museums of History and Ethnography, or the Museums Division at the Institute of Jamaica. So currently at the last count that we did, we have approximately 19,000 objects in our collection. With that being said, it can be considered one of the largest, not if the largest collection in the Caribbean, ethnographic collection that is in the Caribbean. And our collection can be broken down into smaller sections. So we have African collection, Port Royal collection, a miscellaneous collection which is comprised of furniture. We have a maroon collection. We have a Mexican collection, post-emancipation, slavery. So we have much smaller subsections of collections within our larger collection. And we really believe that our collection really does a great job at, how to say it, at really showing the diversity of the Jamaican people, and it really embodies that out of many, one people mindset. So today, even though we are on lockdown mode, I have a few objects with me. So let me just put on my gloves. So
Yes, one main thing with conservation, everyone, is gloves. Gloves are very, very important.
to protect not only myself but the integrity of the artifact, because as you can only imagine, some of these artifacts are hundreds and hundreds of years old. So for example, the artifacts I'm going to show you now are pottery shards from the Taino.
Yes, Institute of Jamaica has been around since 1879, y'all. So them well old. Okay?
All right, so what I have here are two pottery shards, and you can see this one in my right hand. It's actually a handle for a vessel. I'm not sure what this vessel might have been, something to cook in or to eat from. So this would have been a handle for one vessel. And then this here is it's a piece of the bottom for another object. So Alexis can fill you in a little bit about the Taino and why they are so important to our history and culture here in Jamaica.
Well, the Taino, well, is one of the first peoples of Jamaica, and they're also on our coat of arms, again, to tie into the out of many one people, which is our national motto. And, it's just important for the National Museum to have these pieces in our collection because it shows where we're coming from. Depending on, what you read, a lot of scholars believe that Taino art and like Sharifa, the pottery shards that she has up, was the beginning of the art movement in Jamaica. So this is pre-colonial. So, these things are beautiful. We have other artifacts. So when we are lifted from COVID lockdown, please come down to National Museum Jamaica at 10 to 16 East Street, downtown Kingston, so you can see more of these objects in their entirety, or again, more fragments like what Sharifa just showed us.
Those of you who are not located in Kingston, we are also located at Sam Sharp Square in the heart of Montego Bay. And we are usually open from Mondays to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So after our little impromptu commercial, the other that we're going to talk about, so we're going to talk a little bit about pewter. So currently, what I have here, so this is the back. And this is the front. Let me bring it as close so you can see as much detail as possible. Hi, Donna Rosie. Welcome, welcome. All right, so this is right. So essentially, pewter. So I'll hold this up and I'll talk. So I'll be missing for a little bit. So pewter was the material of choice for utensils in 17th century England and her colonies, which Jamaica was. So they made a variety. So they not only made plates like such, but this is also a drinking utensil. So just give you guys a look inside.
And Sharifa, these are part of our Port Royal collection, right?
So these are from our Port Royal collection. So my hand against it can give you an idea of the measurement.
And these objects were found underwater?
Yes, so these were retrieved from the sunken city of Port Royal, right? So these were basically made from a single cast and they were hammered into the shape. So it's not pieces that were put together, but an entire. So pewter is essentially a metal. It's a much softer metal than iron and aluminum. So they were able to bend it and mold it by heating it into what they wanted. So we have quite a variety of pewter objects at the museum, and currently Fort Charles is closed, but we are in the process of constructing a brand new museum in Port Royal. And again, you'll be able to see the majority of the objects that are still located in Jamaica from the sunken city of Port Royal.
Yes, I think Sharifa, if I'm correct, we in Jamaica, we have the largest collection of pewter pieces in the world.
Yes, this is true. This is correct. Alrighty. All right, so next, we know that after, so we had the Taino, and then after the Taino, the Spanish came in 1494. Unfortunately, I don't have any pieces that represent the Spanish, sorry. But we just looked at the British, and now we're going to look at the Africans. So, with me, I have a gumbe drum. So this is maybe a much smaller drum than what people might be accustomed to seeing, but it's still useful nonetheless. So this drum would have been used by the Maroons as part of their communication strategy along with the abeng. Um, and the abeng is basically a bull's horn that was used as a horn. And people would have been able to use that to blow in particular ways to send signals. And the drums would have been used similarly, but people would have beat them. And these drums are not only used in warfare, but they were used in Jonkanu parades and Jonkanu celebrations. And it's a very high pitched drum. And even today, this drum is still used in the sacred rites of the Windward and Leeward Maroons in the Maroon community throughout Jamaica.
And the top is made from goat skin.
From goat skin, yeah.
You're from goat skin, yeah.
And these, what we look at, are tuning pegs.
They tend to drop out if you're not careful.
Yes.
I know that when we're carrying them around, we have to be very careful of that fact.
Anything to add before we move on?
No, man, we can move on to the next object. I think you explained that very well. I mean, as Sharifa said, there are many different varieties of drums that the Maroon community uses, such as the prenting drum, and they come in all different sizes, from smaller drums to medium to large drums. So I'm glad that we're able to have this example to show you today.
Great. So the other item that we're going to move on to, hi Gary. So these are diyas. They're pretty small, smaller than usual. So this is what the inside looks like. So this one is really tiny. So essentially these are earthenware lamps. So in the middle, that burnt part that you see there is actually a wick, a space for a wick. And these were brought to Jamaica and to the rest of the Caribbean and South America, where there are large enough populations of East Indian or persons of East Indian descent who still celebrate Diwali. So these lamps would be used in Diwali celebrations, and essentially Diwali is called the Festival of Light, because it is a time where, not to get too technical, but there is this belief that light always conquers darkness and there's good over evil. So at night, these are lit up with coconut oil or ghee, which is another vegetable oil. And they are placed around, and many times if you look online, you will see that they do some very extravagant designs and with the days, and it's very beautiful. And so these are theirs, and they're little earthenware pots. Anything to add, Lexi?
Just wanted to say that the collections that we have that would have represented the Indian culture retentions in Jamaica include like musical instruments as well. Again, unfortunately, we can't show them to you.
Outside of instruments, there are clothing items, slippers, and a variety of objects.
Of objects, yes.
Yeah, that really religious objects as well, that really show the entirety. And I don't think that unless you're from particular areas like Clarendon and Westmoreland, that some Jamaicans really have a very good idea of East Indian culture, because they may not have been really outside of school or on a field trip, may not have really been exposed to it, especially outside of curry. And we know that curry and mangoes were brought to Jamaica by East Indians or persons of East Indian descent during the period of indentureship. And that's why we have Bombay mangoes. Mango is named Bombay mangoes because they were introduced by, it is said that they were introduced to Jamaica by people from Bombay. So every time you have your curry goat, you will remember your East Indian ancestors.
True.
So that's it for objects. Lexi, you want to tell us what events the education department have coming up?
Oh, just to also add that again, these objects are just what we had on hand for this presentation. We do have a lot of other objects to show the out of many one people theme. We have Chinese objects, Jewish objects. I know we did a while ago African
objects. We have
all of those.
We speak to every single ethnic group that has settled in Jamaica, but unfortunately for COVID, we've had to work with what we have on hand. So
so again, just to say that, but yes, thanks Sharifa for making me get a little plug in. Just want to tell everyone that please tune in on Wednesday on our social media platforms for Taino Day 2020, where we'll be discussing different things about Taino cultural retentions in Jamaica. And then in June, we'll be having our CSEC lecture series. And it will be about 8 or 10 lectures that will be done, but released every day. And yeah, it's just going to be a great set of lectures for our CSEC students. So please stay tuned for that information, which will be advertised on our social media platforms soon. Sharifa, any events gonna take place with National Museum West?
No, we're not sure because we are not sure when we're gonna be open, but we are ramping up our online presence. So I want people to look out for our YouTube page, which is National Museum Jamaica on YouTube. You can follow us, like us, and follow us at National Museum Jamaica on Facebook, National Museum Jamaica on Instagram, National Museum West on Facebook, National Museum West on Instagram, to keep abreast of everything that's happening. And though you may not be able to come in and visit us physically, we have lots and lots of information online. Especially for those of you that might have siblings in school or you have younger ones in high school and primary school, we do have great amounts of information when our new website is up that you'll be able to download and print or read or use as a resource. And I think it's going to be really, really helpful. So just, keep us in mind, follow us, and you will be able to see all our updates and any new projects that we are working on.
And also, you guys can log on to the Institute of Jamaica website because they will be starting to put on virtual tours and all sorts of other events to be advertised there as well.
Sure, and there will be access to the other divisions of the Institute of Jamaica. So you'll have access to the Natural History Museum of Jamaica, the African Caribbean Institute / Jamaica Memory Bank, National Gallery, Programs Division, also known as the Junior Center, Liberty Hall, Legacy of Marcus Garvey. So
Jamaica Music Museum.
Definitely, yeah. Jamaica Music Museum. So, we have a wealth of information and we're happy to share it with everybody. And all it takes is just a click of a button. So there you have it.
And also send us any questions or comments or queries you have in our Instagram direct messages, and we'll do our best to get back in touch with you.
All right, so guys, thanks so much for joining us for International Museum Day. I hope you guys learned something today. Thank you, Lexi.
Well, I know I did. Thank you, Sharifa. And again, guys, for all those joining, thanks again, and continue to follow and like us on social media. Thanks, Sharifa.
No problem.
And stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.